outnumbered and outgunned. A handful of human defenders turn an alien siege into a legend of resistance, proving that walls may fall, but humanity's will cannot be broken. Asterix, the fortress world, Bastion 3, stands as the final shield between the peaceful Terran colonies and the conquering fleets of the Xyrex Dominion. As the last walls buckle under alien fire, a mismatched crew of Marines, engineers, and civilian volunteers band together for a desperate stand, each with their own wounds and fears. When surrender seems inevitable, they show the galaxy what it truly means to be human, fighting for each other and for hope. Even in the darkest hour, Asterisk, the bombardment had lasted for 6 days. Inside the bunker beneath Bastion 3's ancient fortifications, Corporal Maravos wiped blood from her brow and blinked away the grit. The air stank of sweat, plasma burns, and terror. Overhead, the old stone walls, once proud, now cracked and trembling, shuddered with each alien strike. Status. Mara snapped at Sergeant Dean Reyes, battered but unbroken. Spat dust. North walls gone. Med bays flooded with wounded. Civilians are on rationed air. Private Juno, barely 18, whimpered in a corner. They're everywhere. Why? Won't they stop? Because they can't afford to lose, Mara thought grimly. Neither can we dot above. The Xyrex siege cannons screamed, a sound like metal dying. Their war machines, spider-legged walkers, slithering drones, and skyborne leviathans swarmed. The one-screen hills, blotting out the stars, dot the cum panel crackled. Defenders of Bastion 3 intoned a cold, alien voice. Your resistance is meaningless. Surrender and be spared. Mara's hands clenched. Turn that off, she growled. Dean snorted. You hear that? Means they're scared. Means we're not beaten yet. Juno looked up, eyes wide. We can't win, can we? Mara crouched, gripping the young man's shoulder. Maybe not. But if we hold this line, the refugees get away. Every minute we buy is another life saved. That's worth fighting for. She stood, rallying her battered squad. This is our wall. We hold it, no matter what comes through. The defenders, soldiers, engineers, cooks, teachers lifted battered rifles, makeshift shields, anything they could wield. Hope flickered in their eyes. Outside, the ground shook. The last wall was about to fall. The Xyrex came at dawn, a tidal wave of biosteel and venom dot energy bolts lit the sky, slicing stone and flesh alike. Mara fired till her arm shook, the pulse rifle bucking in her grip. Dean led a countercharge, swinging a jury-rigged shock baton, rallying anyone still standing. Juno ducked behind a barricade, hands trembling, but when a drone scuttled close, he drove a blade into its carapace with a desperate yell. He looked up, shocked at his own survival. Mara flashed him a grim smile. Explosions rocked the trench as Xyrex warriors, six-limbed, armored, eyes burning, blue swarmed over the rubble. A squad of engineers, led by grizzled old Pashulin, triggered a minefield, sending alien bodies tumbling, but the enemy kept coming. Fall back to the core. Mara shouted Dot in the chaos. A civilian medic, Zara, dragged wounded comrades to safety, ignoring her own wounds. You're not dying today. Damn it. She barked, slapping a tourniquet on a bleeding leg. A shell burst overhead. Mara was thrown against a wall, ears ringing. When she staggered to her feet, a Xyrex behemoth loomed above her, mandibles dripping. Acid dot, she fumbled for her pistol. Empty. The beast lunged. Suddenly Dean was there, ramming the shock baton into its neck. The creature screamed and collapsed. Dean grinned, blood on his teeth. On your feet, boss. We're not done yet. They fell back, step by brutal step, never turning their backs. Through smoke and ruin, their defiance blazed. Night fell. Cold and merciless. Inside the battered command center, Mara gathered the last defenders. Only 24 remained, faces hollow, bodies bruised, but eyes still burning with resolve. The cum flickered. The Xyrex warlord appeared, visage monstrous. Surrender? No more blood needs to be spilled. Mara stared into the alien's eyes. We will never kneel. If you want this world, you'll have to step over our bones. The warlord sneered. Human stubbornness is legendary. It will be your end. Mara shut off the screen. That's the plan, she muttered. Dean mapped out the last stand. They're massing for a final push. Main gate in 1 hour. Pasha Lin handed out explosives. Old tunnels run beneath the yard. If they breach, we blow the charge, bring down the whole entryway. Juno swallowed hard. What about us? We fight. We hold. We show them what humans are made of. They shared a quiet moment, hands clasped. A nod. A shared breath. No speeches. Just the silence before the storm. Mara checked her battered rifle, running fingers over the words etched into the stock. Not one step back. When the alarms wailed, they took their places, shoulder to shoulder, soldiers and civilians. One line. Against the darkness. The final assault thundered like the end of the world. Xyrex shock troops poured through the shattered gate, shrieking battle cries. Mara fired until the barrel glowed, refusing to yield. Dean tackled 2 aliens at once, a mad grin on his face. Juno took a hit, fell, crawled to cover, and through tears dragged himself up again. Zara, bleeding from her arm, patched up 3. Wounded with one hand, cursing and praying by turns. When the Xyrex warlord strode into the breach, towering and terrible, Mara met him with a savage shout. The 2 clashed blade to blade, fury against fury. The warlord's strength was overwhelming. Mara staggered, slashed, fell to one knee. The warlord laughed. You are finished, human. Mara spat blood. Not yet. She triggered her cum. Lin, now! Beneath their feet, the explosives roared. The ground buckled, swallowing Xyrex and human alike in dust and chaos. When Mara awoke, the sky was quiet. The Xyrex were retreating, battered and broken. The last wall had fallen, but so had the enemy's will. Days later, the survivors stood on the ruins of Bastion-3. Dean limped beside Mara, arm in a sling. Juno helped Zara patch a wounded child. Pasha Lin sat with a rifle across her knees, watching the empty fields. The cum brought news. The refugees had escaped, thanks to the time they'd bought. Across the stars, human worlds rallied, inspired by the stand at Bastion-3. A reporter asked Mara, was it worth it? She looked at her battered squad, at the graves lined up on the hill, at the survivors holding each other in the dawn light. She answered, voice steady. We lost the wall, but not our humanity, not our hope. That's what we fight for. That's why we win. And in the years to come, the tale of Bastion-3 spread through the galaxy. A story of walls, yes. But more than that, a legend of the unbreakable spirit that rises from the ashes and fights and stands together, no matter the odds. Because even when the last wall falls, humanity endures. The end.